Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Jay Tyler here. Welcome back to Jack Fund Management. US Dow celebrated 125 years of operation. In 1897, after a first day of trading, it closed at 40.9. It held a name like ticker GE, which today it still does. In other American markets, US Nasdaq has bounced up, retracing about 50%. AMC blasted through a key level to an impressive upside. GameStop also looks like it will make another bull run. They both strike us to have some strength here. Cathie Wood has maybe shortened her time horizon, possibly coming from pressure. Jeff Bezos keeps trying to enter this space race. This and other factors could influence how Cathie Wood wields her space ETF instrument, for example. Virgin Galactic had a successful test flight. More crypto adoption has given a buoy to Coinbase, another trendy name Cathie Wood seems to like increasingly. Referring back to a time horizon, if this adoption rate keeps a 2020-21 pace, still a bit of a further out play, Coinbase could prove a bit less further out than space. Plus, with elements like paying to wait, some possible inflation, this could look like a strategic move. Cantor clearly emphasized that a tax escalation will make U.S. multinationals less competitive. Americans have gone back to travel heavily. 1.9 million passengers passed TSA screening this past weekend. This has risen side by side with a central supreme exposure to oil, ticker USO. United States Oil Fund measuring spot price in light and sweet crude oil. Many airlines still operate at low capacity, pushing up prices. Yoked with some utmost demand, people having gotten locked up for ages, rushing to take flights to meet family and so on. Now pretty well documented though, corporations see they can, effectively, run business communications virtually. In this new reality, this trend looks very thoroughly here to stay. Apple has performed like a dog lately. Cramer tried to pump it, and wiser firms can tell what that means. Discretionary dollars keep getting spent on flights, summer flights. No one should look for any airfare discounts anytime soon with this backdrop, oil peaks. Yet driving may not save any costs with said gas elevation. AI gets deployed in more and more services now, even now to curate jobs for seekers. Lower volume keeps investors thinking what next, what catalyst. Yet this year we had historically high volumes. In 2020 we had a similar story with historically high vol. Yet, in that summer with a bit lesser volume, markets still went higher. Surveys show no content saturation really exists yet. Some blockbusters may come out, spurring more to go to theaters. Analysts reckon A Quiet Place 2 to garner about $30 million. 72% of theaters have opened, over 4,100. They may create an experience for people, a value proposition, maybe discounts, giving people a virtual chat with actors, actresses. We will see where some crypto goes, if it can actually deliver on some promises. Many theories float around: inbuilt governance, smart contracts, automated regulation, less custodial entities. You have tons of millennial home buyers choosing to settle, raise a family, and Century Communities, ticker CCS, has shot up and up and up, with more people driving around, more transport, and, as you have probably heard, shortages, inflation, everything from cars, new and used, to parts have surged. Group 1 Automotive, ticker GPI, exemplifies a top dealership worldwide. It does business in Brazil, US, and UK, outpacing US S&P for almost 10 back-to-back years. This shows prodigious consistency in a hot field. This also gives one more insight into diversification. And diversification these days can mean geographical as much as anything else. Markets domiciled in Brazil or UK, for instance, could have much less inflation overhang, like within US. We talked about Skyline champion, ticker SKY, in a third video that we made. We will link that video in these comments below. It has catapulted almost 15% since in that video we gave some details about it. This comes from a real business portrayed by Sky. One can extrapolate this out. We realize many people like a Bed Bath & Beyond or aspects of GameStop. We see some things there too. Apples and Oranges Skyline champion has a lot underneath it. Cheesecake Factory, ticker CAKE, still preponderates. As restaurants get more and more crowded and packed, it looms large. From Pittsburgh, Arconic, ticker ARNC, does everything, from manufacturing aluminum sheets to pipes. It seems a bit evident people tend to underestimate how much demand for aluminum persists. It also dovetails with his ongoing story of aviation. Take a look at American Airlines. Airbus can barely keep up with orders. Arconic just emblazons itself as a captain in this aluminum supply chain. A lot of innovations have started to emerge in healthcare. Owens & Minor, ticker OMI, rose more than 450% this year. Not a meme stock, often taking investors on a ride, it has a really great large portfolio. As people return to get elective procedures, this only promotes OMI. Hyrecar still fits this market perfectly with product and service. They assist thousands and thousands of gig economy workers and keep expanding. Professor from Columbia, Professor Greenwald, wrote about professionalism in investing. He made a funny and interesting point. Also why we love some truly educational videos. He generally wrote, "You would not have just anyone perform surgery on you, and one would not have an orthopedist administer internal medicine. Likewise, why would an unprofessional investor and or casual trader think they remain on a right side of any transaction business stock?" Boeing delivered 1,000 Dreamliners this year with a multitude of deliveries to go. Backlog. Altcoins like Dogecoin have rolled over. Nikola IPO'd at $10 as SPACs often do, now sitting at $15. Hacking keeps going on. Now Nobelium proves an ever larger market for cybersecurity firms. Microsoft tries to establish a protocol for reporting methods and countermeasures. We have not seen above 3 or 4% inflation in decades. With more technology and automation, economists try to see how rigidly dynamics work out in regard to Phillips curve measurements. SEC Chair Gensler looks into risks with SPACs, protecting some retail traders from any moths. PCE jumped more, employers hire, real GDP growth. People go out, buy, shop, think Gap, ticker GPS, Cheesecake Factory, demand goes up. Then comes inflation. Prices notch up. Since demand grows, producers raise prices. People working for corporations ask for raises for raising prices. This last part, wage inflation, completes a link, a spiral. Now we watch for this loop in order that people do not have to buy jeans for 20% more as opposed to slightly more now. An environment from which designer brands, ticker DBI, has seen more than positive outcome. Economists also look into N.A.I.R.U, non-accelerating inflation rate of unemployment, a type of number, an employment rate that could kick off wage price spirals. US represents 4% of global population, yet has inoculated almost 60% of world numbers calculated. India has dropped almost 50% from peak wave. Stanley Black & Decker, ticker SWK, globally sells hand and power tools, services, and equipment for infrastructure. Biden would love this one. Black & Decker, also looks emblematic of an FCF machine, a top 10 metric in any evaluative model. Kennedy Wilson operates as a real estate investment firm. At 98% rate, they consistently collected rent throughout that pandemic. From acquisition and disposition of hard assets, they basically operate as a behemoth generating NOI. Now robustly poised with positive catalysts, a thriving dividend, and coming buybacks, KW has some interesting features. They also operate worldwide, in Italy and Ireland, for example. One could diversify this way. Not only within US markets, within Ireland, housing prices have seen increases of around 20,000 plus euros. They still eye strategy. They join up with CIG, and this urban logistics program looks promising. This strategy sets out to capture $1 billion in assets. This could further round out this portfolio of Kennedy Wilson, merging well with the e-commerce trends. Greenbearer, ticker GBX, looks like an angle on normalization. A railroad with bonuses from reopening could really start to pick up in this back half of 2021. It has great working capital. Core personal expenditure index jumped more year on year since mid-1990s. Core PCE keeps blowing through 2%, walking upward even month to month. Demand for TIPS, inflation-protected treasuries, bumped up. Consumers, data shows, have gone from buying more things to services. Travel, restaurant. Taxes from Biden and a debt ceiling could get focused on as a specter. He loves spending money from other people and taxing, yet multinationals could further move if competition wanes. US GDP highly likely can grow about 5% in 2021, a bit above 4% in 2022, yet growing about 2% after that. We really do not see such projected productivity reward. PCE for 04-2020 came in at 3.6 versus 2.4 in 03-2021. This marks the biggest year-on-year gain since near 2008. 2 months blown above the 2% target, we will see how Powell holds. Marriott Vacations, ticker VAC, has delighted in this economic heating. They develop, sell, and manage timeshare ownership interests among a myriad of other things. They have high-end options, Ritz-Carlton, and superior brand recognition. Quarterly contract sales at almost 30% Q on Q, and a sheerly massive revenue comeback underway. Thanks for stopping by. For more economic overview and actionable news, we will see you back here soon next time on Jack Fund Management.